Up and running, and Billabong is loud.
Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with the boys, Sam and George, for Aston Villa against West Ham on Sunday afternoon preview. Lads, how are you doing? Football is back. I just these international breaks, man, they're just so bad. But yeah, football is finally back on the weekend. How are you lads doing? Sam, you first. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. I kind of I'm got to that stage now where I actually don't mind the international breaks because I've got no interest in while Southgate's still manager. So I only watched sort of highlights of both the games, but it's quite a nice break actually. It's a nice because watching Villa at the moment is just so stressful with all the expectation and actually hope that they might do well. So it's actually a nice little break.
Good. So you psych yourself up for this next round, this next however many is it,
Compose
like
yourself.
20 matches in 13 days or something? We've got something stupid like that.
You got to compose yourself, Rich, and you've got to because I was getting a bit heated before the international break. Things
Yeah,
were too much on the
yeah,
line.
yeah,
I'm back on
yeah.
relaxed
I
now.
know, mate. Tell me about it. Well, yeah, this game on Sunday again is a big one. But George, first of all, how are you doing, mate? You've been jet setting across the world on your 21st birthday, I believe, isn't it? Your 21st?
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I've been a very, very busy boy. Just come in from Valencia this morning. Just had a nice little few days break there. I wish it was my 21st birthday. You can add another 19 on there, sadly. Yeah,
Life
before that,
begins,
I've had
mate. Life
a few
begins.
days in Portugal as well. And so, yeah, mate, my head's all over the place, but I'm back home. Obviously, the lads needed me, so I had to jet back quick.
Exactly. We needed you on the pod. We needed you, so it's good to have you on board. And also while you've been away, George, we've smashed through 2,500 subscribers, which is fantastic. So thank you all for your support. We don't want to stop there though. We want to get to 3K. So hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and help us on the road to 3K. And if you do want to become a member, hit that join button. $1.99 a month, less than a third of a cost of a pint, and you can become an official Villa Park Pod follower. So, Sam, West Ham coming up on Sunday. Another tough game. And you talk about kind of, intensity in the Premier League. This one doesn't get any more intense, to be fair.
No, I think it's one of those games. I'm a big fan of West Ham and what they do. Uh, Last year, obviously, they weren't great in the league, but they had fantastic success in Europe. And started this season, they've gone well, and they look like they know what they're doing. And I don't know how David Moyes seems to do it, sort of like every year, where he kind of shit has his way one way or another in a different competition. But they're a really good team, and we've got a horrible record against them. I think we haven't beaten them in the last 10 or something like that. I saw today on Twitter. Um, so yeah, no, it's going to be a challenge, but these are the ones that we're looking forward to. I'd say like the West Hams, the Brightons, the possibly Newcastles. These are going to be our closest rivals this year. If we want to get into that top 6 and top 5, possibly, these are going to be the teams that we're competing with. So to take 3 points off them at any point during the season is massive. It's almost like a 6-pointer, but just near the top of the table.
Yeah. I mean, George, Sam's bang on there with regards to one, West Ham being that tough game. We'll get into the stats. We don't do very well against them here historically, but also, yeah, in terms of that, beating those teams around us, that it being that kind of, high level game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I echo exactly what Sam said there. A lot of respect for West Ham and the job Moyes has done. I often get a bit confused when I hear there's always seems to be a bit of air around Moyes and his future there. But as far as I can see, he's delivered in droves for them, and I really don't know what they're moaning about. But yeah, as for their team, yeah, good players, big strong side. They've lost Declan Rice in the summer, and you're thinking, well, how are they going to bridge that gap? But they seem to have seem to have done that pretty seamlessly. Got Jared Bowen, sort of top player, man in form. So yeah, it'll be a tough game. You know, West Ham, I think what, they're about 7th at the minute or something. So
Yeah.
you know, and again, for some reason, we've a horrible record against West Ham, and also I'd love to see the record Moyes has against us over 15, 20 years, because I know he's won a lot more than he's lost. But at the same time, we're, you know, 10, 11 wins on the bounce now at Villa Park. So, you know, we'd be silly not to be confident. And, you know, at the moment, we feel like we can beat anyone.
Yeah. Well, before we focus on specific players on both sides, Sam, like just in general, like George says there, with Villa at Villa Park under Unai Emery, it has become, dare I say it, a bit of a fortress.
Oh, don't say it, Rich. Don't say. Now, what are we, 10 on the bounce in the Prem? It is
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's you know, it's I don't know, it's unheard of for Villa fans, and I've seen a lot of things. I think it's recently been the anniversary of the hiring of Dean Smith, and more importantly, the firing of Steven Gerrard. My condolences, Rich. So
I knew
He was never getting away with that one, Rich.
I was never getting away with it. As soon as I saw the post on Twitter about the anniversary of the Fulham game, I thought, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
Hey, I was only like, yeah. So that, you know, you think back to like those times, and it's been very peaks and troughs for Villa over the last 10 years. But I feel like we're in a consistent period of ascendancy. Like the squad quality is looking really, really good. Although obviously there's questions about the depth with the injuries that we've had, but I think prior to the injuries, the depth was good, the quality was good, and most importantly, we've got that man in Emery sort of running the show, and 10 wins at home on the bounce, not even unbeaten, just straight wins. It's the best time to be a Villa fan going to Villa Park.
Yeah. And just on that with Emery, George, like with regards to that kind of, you know, captain of the ship or master of the ship, as Sam said, you know, if there's anyone who is going to create a tactical master plan to beat David Moyes or to beat West Ham, we couldn't have a better man at the helm, could we?
Yeah, of course, man. God, you know, I'm always on here bleating records when they're not very good against us. But every time I've done that, Unai Emery seems to find a way to shut me up, and I'm delighted for that. And I hope he does the same again. Yeah, tactical genius, and hopefully he's got something, and we can finally get that win against West Ham.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's talk a couple of West Ham players, because you did cover one, George, before, just slightly, just mentioned him, Jared Bowen. Really dangerous player. Started the season fantastically well. We've really got to watch out for him, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's scoring goals now in fine form. Seems to be loving life. I heard him talking about England and that the other day. He just seems like a happy bloke living his dream, really. So, fair play. You know, he's got pace.
As the
and
song
pace and power.
suggests.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, say no more on that one. Yeah, got pace and power, and everything we actually don't like defending against. So we're going to have to be there's going to have to be a plan to, you know, kind of stop Bowen running right against us.
Yeah, he just seems to he seems to be able to beat players one-on-one, but also obviously Sam, Moyes likes to soak up that pressure, and then, you know, a couple of passes and then that long direct ball. He seems to be able to get on the end of them as well. So he's almost like I guess, you know, double threat in terms of what he can deliver, and he can finish.
Yeah, I love Jared Bowen. I remember when he was at Hull and Villa tried to sign him at the same time as West Ham, and he went to West Ham, and I thought that was a massive blow because he looked brilliant then. I'll tell you who he reminds me of, and a lot of people might say I'm way off, but the way he plays and that kind of bulldogish nature of how he plays, he reminds me of Carlos Tevez. He's just very sort of like low to the ground, low center of gravity, quite stocky, but really pacey, like good on his feet. Fantastic finisher. Like just so his attacking positioning and just his awareness of like where the ball's going to be, not where it is just second to none. And he's always very clinical. Like if you watch Jared Bowen, he doesn't get a lot of chances. And I think that's what makes West Ham so dangerous is, like you say, they soak up loads and loads of pressure, and then they'll hit you on the counter, but they're so confident in the likes of Jared Bowen, who's, I don't know, he scored every game this season or something like that.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'll try and get his stats up, but yeah, he's doing so really, really well.
They have confidence in him that, you know, all he needs is a chance or two, and he'll put something away. So he's their big danger man from open play. Obviously, from set pieces, there's another danger man. But
well, we'll get onto him now. Yeah, Bowen's got 5 goals so far this season. So
out of what, 8?
Yeah. So he's in absolutely top form. That's
top
5
3
Premier
wingers
League
for
goals,
me.
by the way. Yeah,
top 3 wingers for me in the Prem, I reckon.
Yeah. And the other player you wanted to mention, Sam, is a certain Mr. Ward-Prowse, who Villa have been long time linked with. Whether the rumours are to be believed that we kind of, went for the option of Tielemans instead, and then West Ham kind of bided their time, got him for, I think, is what can be classed as a real good price in 30 million, because he seems to have settled in and hit the ground running at West Ham.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven, which I never really doubted, that he would excel and get better if he was in a better team. Like, you've got to remember, James Ward-Prowse kind of made a name for himself in what was predominantly a struggling Southampton team. And he's moved to West Ham, and he's again become that focal point. He's established himself very quickly as a leader in that squad, and he makes a difference with his set piece ability. And a lot of people will just say, "Oh, that's all James Ward-Prowse can do." But I've seen him score diving headers this year. I've seen him with fantastic delivery, fantastic assists. He's an all-round player, and I think if you'd asked me at the start of the season, or before the season started, would I rather have Tielemans on a free or James Ward-Prowse for 30 million? I would have chosen Tielemans because he's free and he's got untapped potential, and he has been on his day a brilliant player, and he can do things that James Ward-Prowse can do, but he can do things that James Ward-Prowse can't. So if you'd asked me before the season who would I taken, I would have taken Tielemans. But if you ask me now if I'd do a swap, I don't know. I guess all I can say is James Ward-Prowse is probably the most dangerous person, arguably, in the world from a dead ball position, from a free kick.
Yeah. And George, he's got 2 goals and 3 assists so far in 7 matches for West Ham. It's one of them where you as an opposition side, you're scared to give away any free kicks, any corners in any situation, because you just know, whether you're 1-0 up with 2 minutes to go, you give a corner away, whether it's 1-1 approaching the last minute, you give a free kick away. This guy has a very, very good chance of either getting an assist or getting a goal.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think his ability has ever really been questioned, especially from the set pieces. Is there anyone better? But like, what you were just saying there about us looking at him, we were, but I'm quite happy with the midfield we've got. I still don't think. I think if Ward-Prowse was at Villa, I still think he'd be struggling to get in that starting lineup. So he's gone to West Ham, fair play. He's just been relegated with Southampton. That was his boyhood club. He's spent a long time, trying to be the leader there, the talisman. I don't think they could really begrudge him moving after all these years. And he's doing well at West Ham. I just hope we can make sure we can get through Sunday without him banging in a free kick from 30 yards.
We shall see.
Didn't he score a free kick the day that Dino got fired after that Southampton game? Was that not? We lost 2-1.
No, it was the home game. That was the home game earlier in that season, wasn't it? I think it was 3-2. We were like 4-1 down or something, weren't we?
Yeah,
we lost 4-3 in the lockdown season. He got
it.
two free kicks. But the season where Dino got relegated, is Adam Armstrong scored a screamer.
Okay, yeah, I remember watching that game in a pub somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. But we've felt the force of Ward-Prowse a couple of times in terms of his free kicks. I think they might have beat us 3-1 in the season where we just about stayed up. I think he might have scored in that game as well.
He's definitely scored more than one free kick against us.
Yeah.
He's scored a few.
Yeah, absolutely. On to Villa. I don't think we've got too many other kind of injury worries to contend with. I was hoping that Alex Moreno would be back, but doesn't look like he's going to make the squad for this game. And obviously Ramsey is out as well, to add to obviously Buendia and Mings.
Oh, you gave me hope there, Rich.
Nearly. But yeah, Sam, I mean, have you any sort of thoughts on? I'll get my starting lineup in a second, but any sort of thoughts on approaching this game? Players that you're kind of thinking could make a claim for a starting spot.
Yeah, I think an interesting one at the moment is Zaniolo. Like, obviously, he's had these allegations against him for betting. It seems, from what I've seen, from the evidence available, that he didn't really do anything wrong. So I can't imagine that there's going to be any punishment for that. But I wonder if his mentality will be affected, if he might be just a little bit distracted by what's going on outside. I know he's had to defend himself in front of the Italian FA and other things like that. So I personally, I know I didn't send you my starting lineup, but if had it not been for all that, I would have started him against West Ham. But I just wonder now what his mentality is saying, and if he's up for it. But I think apart from that, the team, either due to a lack of depth or just due to performances so far, kind of picks itself.
Yeah,
I think Leon Bailey and Zaniolo are the only questions, really, aren't they?
Go on.
No, that was it. I was just saying Leon Bailey and
yeah,
Zaniolo
Leon Bailey.
question.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if we might have had a slight internet hiccup there. But George, I know as well in the Wolves game, obviously he went with Concert right back, and Diego Carlos came in. Is there a case for keeping that back line, or would you think that Luca Dean comes back in and goes more attacking?
That's quite a hard one to answer.
Sorry, Luca
really,
Dean played, but yeah.
Tough one to answer, really, because Diego Carlos was probably the best player, in my opinion, in the Wolves game. But the system was kind of more of a defensive one, wasn't it, to try and contain Wolves?
Yeah.
Whereas this time we're at home and the onus is on us to go and win the game, especially with the record that we've got at the moment. So I would suggest he would probably go back to just the two centre-backs and Luca Dean at left back, Cash at right back, and try and attack West Ham. But, if he was to go the other way, then I don't think it'd be that much of a problem either way.
No. Well, my starting lineup, I've gone with Martinez in goal, Cash, Konsa, Torres, and Digne, Kamara, Louise McGinn, and I've put Bailey in there with Diaby and Watkins. And that's through our new partnership with FanHub. If you want to join the community, the links are all in the description, guys, and use the exclusive code to jump in and predict against us as well. So yeah, jump in on that. It's a great app. So yeah, have a little look at that. But Sam, you said that I've gone with Bailey. I think just regarding that, I think Zaniolo's probably had a lot on his case, and I think he might go with the fact that usually Bailey gets off to a fast start at home. And I think he's been playing pretty well, to be honest. Like, I have to say, like, I know he gets a lot of criticism, but I think he's been playing pretty consistently. Like, generally when he gets the ball these days, I'm not necessarily thinking every time he's going to trip over the ball or give it away.
No, I don't disagree. I think Bailey's actually had a decent start to the season. Obviously, he's had his moments where he's, maybe giving the ball away a bit needlessly and stuff. And me suggesting Zaniolo comes in is actually less to do with Bailey not being up to scratch, but how impressed I've been with Zaniolo. Like, that guy, he's had wonder saves pulled out against him. He's hit the crossbar, he's hit the post, he's done everything but score. And I actually love watching him play. I think he's just so powerful and so quick. And I think we've said this on the podcast. I can't remember when. It was ages ago. We were talking about someone just having a pop, someone just having a shot from here, there, and everywhere. And Zaniolo does that. And more often than not, he's accurate. Like, I wouldn't be, whoever starts, I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm not going to be like calling for the other one to start, but I really, really like Zaniolo. I like the way he plays. I like his intensity and his kind of arrogance on the pitch. I think the only thing is he can be a bit selfish, Zaniolo. Like, he doesn't know when to release the ball. But I'd say the same about Bailey. Sometimes I think he dribbles around a man and goes back and tries to beat him again. But I think that's less intentional from Bailey. I think he's just playing football the way he knows how. I think Zaniolo kind of knows he's hogging it a little bit, like back in the playground. It's like, stop hogging the ball and pass it around.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy with both their starts to the season. I think it's going to be a really interesting battle over the season for them to see who can really cement that place, because right now it's up in the air.
Yeah, totally. George, I've just looked at your starting lineup, and we must have been on must have been great minds think alike because you've gone exactly the same as me. Diaby though, I think has looked a little bit jaded the last couple of games. It's been good for him, I imagine, to have that couple of weeks off, just to get refreshed again.
Yeah, definitely. I think he set very high standards early on, didn't he? In the season, his first few games, he was electric. So the chances of him just recreating that game after game was it's probably not going to happen, was it? And he's probably due a dip. But hopefully now he's had a nice little week and a half, 2-week break, and he'll be back fighting on all cylinders come Sunday. Yeah,
It'll probably have been away less than you, George. To be fair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. You've been living the life of it. I don't know, not even a footballer, some sort of jet set billionaire, mate. To be fair.
just the
you
way I
know,
roll, boys.
Diaby's a weird one because I when you like play a game, I've been playing that new EAFC, the replacement for FIFA. By the way, feel free to sponsor us if you want. And
I'm sure they're listening, Sam.
yeah, I'm sure they are. And every team that I play against online has Diaby in, and he absolutely ruins me. So I actually hated him for these 2 weeks. I just every time I see him, I'm just this guy again. So I've got to get back in the mindset of actually supporting him because he's been the bane of my life for the last 2 weeks. So he's brilliant, and he was brilliant in pre-season as well. It wasn't just the start of the season. So he'll pick up, and I'm sure once he gets going. I mean, he's a winger. He's not going to get
Still been
20 30
still
goals
been the touch of class. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He just knits the attacking bit together, though, doesn't he? He's got a lovely relationship with Watkins, and like we're just talking about Bailey there. Ever since Diaby's come, I just noticed that Bailey just releases the ball a lot faster than he used to. He's
They've got
piss
good
around, isn't he?
dynamic.
Trying to take a man on, or he bloody launch a stupid cross that would go flying over the bar. Now, as soon as he gets it, he's looking to find Diaby, and then Diaby's looking to find Watkins, and it just looks much more menacing for me.
Yeah, I think by the way, it's worth saying Diaby, I think is one of the only players, maybe Douglas Luiz is the other. It's the only other player that I can see playing in any team in the world. I can see him at Bayern Munich, I can see him at Real Madrid, I can see him at Man City. Diaby really is he's such a massive coup for us. I think people need to sort of appreciate that whilst he's here, because I don't know how long he's going to be here for, but he's by far the most talented player that we have in the squad, and very, very lucky to have him whilst we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, let's have a quick look at the stats because we alluded to it earlier, but they don't make for amazing reading. But obviously, we know we've got the man who can break all the records. So at the moment, head to head, we've played each other 48 times in the Premier League. It's fairly even, like as you can see there, even in terms of total wins, 14 for West Ham, 13 for Villa. We've won 9 at home. They've won 6 away, so they've got a decent record at Villa Park, 21 draws. And the last recent meetings, we obviously got a draw last season away, lost 1-0 under Steven Gerrard at home last season. I think that was like the 4th or 5th game of the season. I think that West Ham hadn't won a game either, but they turned up to Villa and won. They beat us 2-1 and 4-1 at Villa Park season before last, and then 3-1 again in lockdown. So we don't have a good record against them. Recent form with 3 wins out of 5. They're 2 wins out of 5. Their defeats coming to Man City and Liverpool. They got a decent draw against Newcastle last game before the international break. And as you said, George, 7th in the league at the moment. Villa are 5th. Fairly similar records. They've got 1-4, drawn 2, lost 2. We're at 1-5, drawn 1, lost 2. We're slightly higher in terms of average goal score per match, exactly the same in conceded goals per match. We've got 1 more clean sheet, very similar in terms of chances. I mean, it has to be said, it's going to be, looking at the stats, lads, it's going to be a tight game.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a given before. Before we kind of looked at the stats, it's going to be a tight affair, and they're a really hard team to play against. They've got, like we said, Bowen is really quick on the wing, but I think Mikel Antonio as well. He's an expert in holding the ball up and sort of running out wide, and he's very erratic the way, very unorthodox in the way he plays. So he's a hard person to play against, Mikel Antonio, because he's almost not good enough at football that it makes him really good, because he just kind of does bizarre things that you don't expect him to do. And I know that Ezri Konsa struggled with him before, and I don't feel Pau Torres would
Sorry,
have his
Sam.
number.
Sam,
Yeah,
they keep trying to replace Antonio, don't they? And he just keeps seeing them all off.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
it's
keeps
because he
finding
can run
whether he's ready.
forever as well. It's because
He's
he,
Yeah.
he's so strong. I think that's
yeah,
part of it. He's built like an absolute brick house. He's a very, very weird dynamic to play against, and I know that Concert has struggled with him before, but I think it's time for a rematch. Concert's in really, really good form, so it will be I think it will just be whoever's more up for it on the day. I think in terms of quality, it's relatively even. I think we might have more quality in the team from back to front. If you were to do a comparative 11, I'd say that Villa were the better team, but West Ham are really good at grinding out results as well. And that's David Moyes in a nutshell. And he's not prolific for playing beautiful football, but he's a results-based manager, and that's sort of how he's operated his whole career.
yeah,
That's funny. Within
absolutely.
I remember having this chat with, I think it was West Ham. It must have been either last season or the season before. I think it was you, Sam. We were having a ding dong like we usually do. You were saying that we had a better team than West Ham, and I was like not having none of it. But fast forward a year and a half, it just shows you that the good business we've done. I would now sort of take your side and say I think we do have the better players.
I
And
think we have the
we've
same
caught up on them.
team.
We've caught up on them a lot now.
Yeah, and I think the problem that we had was about a year and a half ago when we had Gerrard in charge is we had the same players who, we started out saying, these players aren't performing, and then the longer we went into Gerrard's reign, we were just like, these players just aren't good enough actually, and then
Yeah.
it turns out from Unai Emery that they were good enough, and they have all gone to a better level than we've ever seen them play. So I think I think the next step for these players is to I think, and where we differ from West Ham is consistency. I think West Ham players, you get pretty much the same out of them most games, and they'll either nick it or they'll have a good performance or they'll lose to a good team. But you very rarely get West Ham on an off day, where I think Villa players individually performances are very erratic. If you look at John McGinn has great games and then he has really quiet games. You don't see him. Ollie Watkins, I'm not going to say any more. And then even Leon Bailey, you see it all around the pitch.
I mean, it took Louise a while to get that level of consistency, but it's the same with him. Matty Cash can be the same.
Absolutely.
It is that.
And you don't really get that in the West Ham team. And I think that's the big difference between Villa, like really, really pushing this season, and maybe just falling to like 7th or 8th, is if we can just get a level of consistency out of these players. If we can just get the same thing from Matty Cash, even if it's not his best, I'll take a 7 out of 10 for him every single game instead of an 8-1 game and a 3 the next. Some people might disagree with me, but I think consistency is key here.
Yeah, agreed. Well, before we get your predictions, lads, one more just little reminder for you. We've smashed through the 2,500 subscriber mark, so thank you so much for your support, but we don't want to stop there. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help us on the road to 3K. George, I will come to you first. We've gone through the stats, we've gone through the key players. Now it's time for your prediction. What are you saying? Score and scorers.
Yeah, tough game again. As usual, it's always about the first goal with Villa, I find. I say this time and time again, but again, if we were to concede first, I would be doubtful we'd get anything out of this, a draw at most. But we usually get an early goal at Villa Park, so I'm gonna back us to get another early goal and then go on to win 3-1.
High scoring. Who's scoring?
I think Watkins will carry on his scoring run and get another one. I think Leon Bailey at home usually scores, so I'll go for him. And I'll go for Diaby to get his shooting boots back.
I like it. Nice and confident. Sam, what about yourself?
I'm going to go slightly more conservative. I can see this one being a draw. I reckon it's going to be 2-2. I think West Ham are tricky customers, and I don't think it would be the worst result in the world to get a draw, take away a point from that. So I'm going to go 2-2. Scorers, I think maybe Ollie will continue his prolific 2-game run.
Prolific.
Yeah, absolutely prolific. Two games on the bounce. So he'll probably get another one. And
I can see the comments. I can already see the comments.
Come at me. Do you know what? I asked Rich today if I could respond to what I can only imagine was a piece directed directly at me from Ollie Watkins, talking about how fickle fans are, now how we love him because he scored 2 in 2 games. But we're gonna have to save that for another day. Yeah, Ollie Watkins to get one, and I reckon. Do you know what? I'm backing Zaniolo for his first goal. And I reckon Bowen will definitely get one for West Ham. And I can see a cheeky one from like Souček or Kufal or something like that.
He's a good player. Yeah, Kufal's actually their top assist maker as well at the moment. So he's
Been
one.
playing
He
really
couldn't
well.
even get a game last season for Moyes.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa. I think we'll just about sneak it. I think Ollie will score, and I think Bailey will score. I agree with you, George. And yeah, I think Ward-Prowse will probably smack in a free kick for West Ham. But I'm going to still say 2-1 Villa, and yeah, marching up the table, potentially get us in that top 4, and then maybe some pundits might start talking about us. You never know.
Well,
You
know
never know.
George's stance. George never wants people. Oh, there he goes. He's off. George never likes it when people talk about us anyway. So
No, exactly.
As
You'll
long
be
as we
all right.
fly under the radar, the
As
better.
long as we knows what's going on, boys, that's all that matters.
And end of the
Exactly.
season, if we finish top 4, then they can talk about us all they want.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Top show, lads. Thank you very much. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Get in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on what you think the score is going to be. Who do you think is going to start? Who you think the key players are going to be? We love your comments and we try and respond to all of them. So, yeah, get them all in. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back Sunday for instant match reaction from myself, match reaction from the boys, fans forum on Monday, talking tactics from Gareth. So loads of shows. So make sure you're liking and subscribing. And as always, thank you for watching. And remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.
Up and